for joining us today. And this is one of the best episodes that I'm talking about today is because we have right now the two best friends or might be the two best enemies in the show, DanPOP and Rawkode. And I think most of you are already familiar with these awesome peoples. Both are CNCF ambassador, and one, as you know, Dan is the best cloud native podcast on the show on the internet, POPCAST Pop. I hope you are already familiar with him, and also the Rawkode, the person who break cluster lives and help you share how you can fix it. So over to you, Rawkode first. David Flanagan, how are you? Can you talk us about what? Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, I'll talk as soon as he leaves.
He's coming out swinging. See, I'm taking the high road. See, I'm being a good ambassador. So go ahead. You go. You can go first, David. Age before beauty.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm really excited. And Pop and I are friends, but frenemies, I guess. So a lot of respect there. And you're right. He does have the best cloud native podcast. I'm going to give him that. It's a fantastic show, and everyone needs to like, subscribe, and follow along. Wonderful conversations with the best people in the community. About me, my name is David Flanagan. You'll know me as Rawkode. I'm the host of Rawkode Live and LGTM on Cloud Native TV. I'm a Cloud Native ambassador, and really just trying to share as much knowledge in this space as possible. Cloud Native is hard, Kubernetes is hard, and we need to build a community of learning, sharing, and caring together. And I'm happy to be helping with that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for introducing yourself to my audience. And now back to the Pop.
Hello, everyone. My name is DanPOP Andrea. People call me Pop. I'm the Director of Open Source Ecosystem and Community at SysTick. I'm also a CNCF ambassador and also the executive producer and co-chair, along with David and Kat Cosgrove of Cloud Native TV. Please check it out, cloudnative.tv. I have a podcast, as David talked about. It's called the POPCAST. And David and I started together literally like within a week of each other. And so we've always kind of gave each other kind of nudges. He's like the brother I've always wanted. And so like we just like to have this rivalry, but there's no one I respect more than him in terms of his acumen, like what he knows, like how he approaches stuff and all that. He's one of the most creative minds out there. But enough of that. For the rest of this interview, it's all going to go downhill from here.
Yes, so. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I really seen you, both of the people who helped me a lot in my career, switching to the cloud native kind of stuff. The things I'm doing right now is because of the motivation I get from both of you, and you've done a wonderful job. Keep on doing this kind of stuff. A big community needs your help. Everybody needs your help. Students need your help, because everybody who wants you to learn Kubernetes, because this is all we know. This is the next wave after the virtualization, and you have to understand it, how to get into this world. And every time I see you speaking in the podcast and talking to the Kubernetes community people, I learned a lot. And I really respect all these persons who get involved in that community and bring CNCF community, the best community in the world right now in the IT.
If you think about where we all started, not just us, we always had people before us that helped us out. And Brian Kettleson, great example, Kelsey, right? All those like Joe Beta, Craig McLucky, those people, and Sarah Navani, all those people laid that groundwork for people like David, myself, Ian Coldwater, Stephen Augustus, Kat Cosgrove, other people all around the world to do this. Now we have to give back. That's what community is, the ability to give back to folks. To grow and do those things. We want to make sure there's a bunch of people out there that are adding more to this community.
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm thank you very much for a lot of stuff both of you are doing. But now ready for the cloud native career tips. First, I go to the Rawkode side of things, and let me start from the very hardest question. Is that somebody want to do some kind of stuff that you are putting on, but they need some kind of support, and they don't get support from, let's say, whether the IT company they're working on, they don't get support from the, let's say, the family or these kind of stuff, and they don't have enough time to share their passion about cloud native things. what they should do right now in order to do these kind of things. They are passionate about learning technology and sharing the potential benefit of these technologies to the larger audience, but they don't get support from them elsewhere. What should they do?
Damn, straight in there with a hard one. Okay. I mean, you start small. Like you don't need to go out there and start producing your own live streaming, 3-4 days a week or anything like that. Like, it's all, we've got to take that first step, and it doesn't have to be the first mile. So, thinking back to the start of my career, it was probably the hardest thing I ever did. See, that's my Scottish voice coming through. I'm going to have to try and rein that in. It's probably the hardest thing I ever did was just going to a local user group and presenting in front of 8 people. Now, looking back, it's such a small act. I'm sharing a little bit of knowledge with a small group of people in a local community, but it's the first step into building up that confidence and that ability to present, because nobody is born with that. Well, maybe Pop was, I don't know, but nobody is born with that ability to stand in front of people, even 2 people, and present. It is terrifying. I remember being in this little user group and my hands were shaking, and I was like, I had a 10-minute talk that I ran through in 3.5 minutes, and it was just super fast, and I was talking like this and nobody understood a thing. Like, all of this just comes from perseverance and from doing it time and time and time again. So just start small, go to a local user group, present on something that you're passionate about, something that you like, something that doesn't require you to do a lot of research up front. Because when you speak from experience, when you speak from passion, it's a lot easier, rather than trying to go, oh, there's this cool thing that people are all getting excited about. Maybe I should go and learn it and talk about it. Like, stick within your wheelhouse and then expand on it and do more things. Work from local user conferences, start maybe movement. Work from small user groups and start to work up to conferences. Even blogging, right? Going to dev.to and writing that first article that shows people how to get started with something you've done before is a small step. And you can just keep building on that and iterating on it, and then eventually build up and understand what your chosen medium is. For me, it's live streaming. Pop likes doing podcasts. Some people are prolific writers and they're really good at telling stories that way. Go do that. Some people are just amazing at conference talks. Like, we've all seen Kelsey Hightower present with live demos, right? He nails that. He's great at that. That's his medium. So find out what you want to do, take the first step and start small. That would be my advice.
Yes,
I think people see, I'm sorry, did you want me to?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So,
Right.
And the question is the same, but I try to do it in a harder way again. So that's another harder question. Let's say you've done some kind of things. It's going to be popular.
Stick it to them, make it hard.
Yes. People are just liking your efforts.
Make them sweat.
People are liking your effort.
Shot.
So people are liking your effort. You're doing some kind of appreciation from you guys and the rest of the Kubernetes community. But let's say some of the competitions are already built up. Let's say somebody has some kind of academy they are working on, and they don't want to be succeeded in that way, because if you succeeded, they might grab the audience from the other points of view. So now, how we can tackle these kind of situation?
I don't believe in competition in community. I don't believe in it at all. And here's what I mean. We're all the common good here. We're all trying to make people smarter. We're all trying to integrate folks into the tools that we're either selling or we're open sourcing or we're really passionate about. So going back to what David said about, like, if you're passionate about something and you're able to, convey the point there, but I don't see it as competitive. Oh, I see get more views than somebody like this. Great. Awesome. More people eyes on this thing. There's only, in this community of cloud native, there's 1% of 2% of the world understands what the hell is going on in this world. And we're that 2%. Who are you competing with? You're competing with the other noise, the blockchain people that are out there, the legacy tools that are out there. So if you're approaching it from that perspective, you probably shouldn't be in this community, because that's some of our greatest attributes, is the fact that we are welcoming, we're inclusive. It's why I'm still here. From the first day, again, I asked the question on Twitter. Joe Beta answered me within a minute. 2 minutes later, Chris Nova had responded. 2 minutes after that, Tim Hawkin had responded. Where else could you have gotten that? If we have a situation where people are seeing these things as competitive, get the hell out. We don't need you. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm being a little like hardcore on it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see it as competitive. I don't at all.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, like, if there's one thing that people take away from this episode, and I have no idea where we're going to go, right? But tech and everything that we do is not a zero-sum game.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
So Pop getting 1 million views and succeeding doesn't mean I can't succeed, right? There is enough room for everyone here. We can all be successful. We can all share our knowledge. And the output is that collective knowledge that we have as a cloud native community, from articles to podcasts to live streams to tutorials to repositories to even technologies and companies. We're all contributing to a collective knowledge. We can all succeed. And we do that through working together, not working against each other.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, we share, like, we'll let you behind the curtain. Like, we share stuff that we do all the time. Like, even with in the cloud native TV spots, like, we're always like, hey, we should think about doing this or think about doing this. When you don't do that, it's kind of contrary to this whole collaborative aspect that we've, that we do. So, I mean, I think it's beneficial to share knowledge.
Yes, absolutely. Wonderful. One thing I really like about it, because if you go to the Rawkode Discord server, you see he listing the channels of, let's say, from the Brett Fisher, the Sam Patak, who are doing the same stuff that's the Rawkode doing, but he's also supporting this person as well. Also supporting Adrian Goins from the Rangers. They all guys doing one same kind of thing, but they don't see each other as enemies. And this make me this community a wonderful place to be in, because everybody promoting other stuff as well. I tweeting about my own Cloud Native FM podcast. Pop is appreciated me, Rawkode appreciating me. I think this makes me the motivation to these kind of stuff. These are I'm doing the very lower side of things, but I try to do it because of the motivation I get from these guys. So thanks for elaborating this type of question. So we start from the harder, now start from the simpler. Let's say if somebody wanted to contribute to the open source and they are willing to do so, what are the initial steps they try to do? Let's say I am the 6th semester of the university student and I'm trying to contribute to the open source. I doesn't heard about Kubernetes at this moment of time. What are the first initial step I try to do? So starting from David.
Contributing to open source is intimidating when you've not done it before. I remember trying to get my first contribution at the project as well. And the biggest mistake I made was trying to contribute to projects that I thought were popular and were going to be more rewarding. And actually, the right path to contribute to open source is to make the change that you need yourself. Like, if you are using open source in your organization, wonderful, right? The chances are there's going to be a project or a library that you're using that doesn't do something that you need to do. Or maybe there's a bug that you've found. And it may seem trivial, but those little things improve the quality of life for everyone else in the ecosystem, and they're really valuable. So just find a project that you've got a challenge with, a problem with, a bug with, and start small. Try and contribute to it. I'll plug LGTM on Cloud Native TV. Like, the whole purpose of LGTM is to get people over that first hurdle, is to show you Cloud Native projects, the tooling that's involved, how the build process works, how the pull request process works, from the people that are maintaining the project. And if you've got a project, check for an LGTM episode, and maybe you can contribute to Containerd or Prometheus or to any other Cloud Native project. So just try and make that first commit. It is intimidating. We all start somewhere, but unfortunately, because of people like Pop and Augustus and Joe Beda, this is the most supportive community that we have out there, and you will find the help that you need.
So I think one thing that's lacking in somebody getting in, there's documentation. Documentation really doesn't get the love, and it should, right? It's such a simple way for somebody to get involved. Not so much the typo and grammatics. Look, that's easy, right? It's more of once you understand, like, you're studying Kubernetes. If you read the docs and you kind of get familiar with it, and I tried this and this didn't work, but I changed it. Maybe I can do that contribution. So docs got some love there. Docs not only on Kubernetes, but like David said, don't pick every single the popular projects, right? Look at things like, I don't know, Falco is another example of stuff which shameless plug like that. There's also other projects like Cilium, great project. If you're into CNI and networking and all of that. But like I said, if you're a student coming in and you want to, look at your interests. If you're interested in something, you're going to probably go the distance with it because it's not easy, as David talked about. And again, plugging LGTM and great show to help show you. I mean, his episode, he had Julius Volz on, and he had the Prometheus creator show how to contribute to Prometheus. When David came up with this concept, and I'm so freaking tired of giving him compliments this episode. I think we're at quota at this point. But like he came to it and I was like, this is absolute genius. It's like, because what was the question? I love this project. I want to know how to contribute to it. You're doing it in a live stream. So again, really good resources, LGTM on Cloud Native TV. Follow, please. But yeah, like I said, Docs, Dims did a really good article on, and maybe I'll send you the link to it. On how to contribute. There's a CNCF contributor and a Kubernetes contributor, the DevX, the Contributor X group, that you can find these things out on. But again, don't be shy to tackle the low-hanging fruit stuff, the documentation, because that's what gets you acclimated to the various cloud-native technologies that are out there.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think the one thing I really like about it, because people are now understanding this thing, that people are really are showing the complexity of contributing to open source, and people are doing the live show to show us how to contribute to open source. I see that David has talked to the LGTM episode about the Linkerd. I think that David may come up and he shows us how to contribute to the Linkerd. That is wonderful, because everybody need to know, if let's say David Matee is starting his career from the ground up, how it should contribute to the open source. But I think I highly recommend you everyone to check these kind of episode in your free time to get involved into this committee. Now the next tougher question starting from the
David and I are contributors. Hold on. So David and I are contributors to like Kubernetes and all that. That first step we took was somebody being like, I remember Cody, give props to Cody and Marky Jackson. They were like, Pop, this is how you should contribute. This is how, this is how DCO works and all that. So it's not, don't be afraid to ask the questions of how to contribute. That's the other part of it. But like, again, is, make sure you're doing it in a way that's like not just like constantly asking questions. It's like you should be in a way that like, hey, this is what I'm finding. Like, don't just send all these machine gun questions. Just get a whole like your list together of here's what to do. Because I've seen that too, and it stresses folks out because they have their day jobs and all of that. Whereas it could be a simple, hey, I just want to contribute. Can you help out? This is what I'm seeing. Blah, that type of thing.
Yes, absolutely. So now the next tougher question started from again the DanPOP is that let's say somebody are already using the technologies, like they are the development, they are in the phase of their development life cycle. They are the developer, and now they want to switch to the cloud native or DevOps space. How do they switch their career as a cloud native application developer, or switch their career to the cloud native technologies? What should they try to do in either to migrate their career to the newest and most trending technologies in IT?
I mean, if they have the thing is really like C or Java, some of those things, you can probably get acclimated to Go, for instance, right? And whatever the technology that's there, I would say that. But also, again, it's like if you have passion for those things, or hey, I'm starting in a new company and I really need to learn this and that, you're gonna be forced to pick up that technology anyway. Or if you're interested in the technology and you've contributed to it, right? You're gonna have to like alter your kind of sensibilities and to be able to to contribute to those things. So I don't see it as, oh, I just gotta stop and go do this thing. I think it's a gradual like getting to a point where you're interested in that technology enough to learn more about it. Because when you're curious about something, curiosity leads to that higher interest that gets you acclimated to it, and then you end up being proficient in it. But if you start from a place like, oh, I just gotta go, I gotta learn cloud native, that's it, I gotta go, and there's no like kind of like path or passion for it, don't be in this game. Like, do something else. Like, that's my take on it. You got to start from a place of about the technologies that you're about to play with. Is my take on that.
Yes, absolutely. And same question to the David side of David again. the same question, but I try to add another on top of question is that, let's say somebody are learning the technologies, but they are not sharing what they are already learning. What sort of disadvantages they have in order, if let's say if they share technologies, like they are working on the Kubernetes, and every day they share these kind of things, that I learned this kind of technologies on social media. What are the advantages they want to get?
So that's a tough one, right? Like, you can be really successful learning these technologies and not sharing. However, the advantage comes from, when you're hacking on Kubernetes, trying to get your application deployed, and you find out, oh, this works, this is really cool. It's only by going to other people and saying, oh, I found this way to do this thing, that you can share perspectives. And they may be coming from a slightly different application that they're deploying to Kubernetes, and they've went, oh, well, I did it this way. And it's only through that exchange of ideas that probably we're going to progress forward and say, okay, well, actually, if we amalgamate this in some way, we'll actually find that there's a joint solution where both of these things bring something that's better. Like the sum of the parts is greater. The sum of the whole is better, greater than the sum of the parts. But not only that, is by sharing those perspectives, okay, well, I've got a solution I don't think is ideal, and you've got a solution that's not ideal, that we can actually pinpoint what the root of the problem is. And then we can start to drive the project forward. And the more people that we have doing this, the more people that are chipping away at what an application deployment looks like on Kubernetes. Or going to get us to better path. It's going to get us to better tooling, better technologies, better patterns. These patterns don't come from isolation; they come from shared experiences.
Yes, absolutely. That's a wonderful explanation to my question. And also, one of the other question I see from the people is coming up everywhere in the social media.
He's pretty good. This guy, David, is pretty good, right? Sometimes. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
All right, it was nice seeing you. Bye.
Yes, absolutely. And another question I think I get from the most of the time from the community.
We all set? I was waiting for a question there.
So another question, Bob, I see from the people are always talking about this kind of thing. Let's say they are working in the 9 to 6 p.m. in the company, but they want to share that they are interesting about the knowledge they want to get, what are the, let's say, the limitation they have, the tool they are using on, and they want to share these things with the community. But there's a 9 to 6 job offering. How do they manage their time to be spent onto the Twitter and see what are the people are talking about? Because that is really mandatory at this moment of time. Because I remember I switching to this kind of technologies by following the Linkerd feeds and the Twitter feeds of the people. They are talking about Kubernetes. It is a very hot topic right now. I have to get into this technology early on if I wanted to be a succeed in this kind of part of the world. But let's say everybody asking to me and these kind of people that we want to be in this part of the world, but we don't have enough time for it. How do we manage our time to think on the social media? What are the people talking about? What are the technologies people are talking about? What are the shows are available? And what are the hottest trend in the IT?
So first off, there's a skills gap, huge skills gap. I mean, like right now, in terms of cloud native and multi-cloud and all of that, HashiCorp just put out a report, cloud native report, that said something like, there's 53% skills gap in terms of, folks that are understanding this world. So from a career perspective, there's jobs out there and all of that. If you do have a 9 to 6 or whatever 9 to 5 job, you have to satisfy, what you're being paid to do. If you really want to get ahead, and you may have to do this from an after hours perspective. And that's where, again, if I look at, contributors to various projects, they're doing it in their off time. The folks doing stuff with Linkerd, the folks that are doing Tinkerbell, the folks that are doing Falco, they're doing it in their off time. You have to show those folks gratitude, right? And so that's what we do a lot in the various projects that I'm a part of. Something like, I think, Knative picked up from Falco was this Contributor of the Month idea. So again, if you want to pick up some of these skill sets, unless your job says, hey, and some jobs are like that. Hey, I need to pick up Go because I need to, they want to re-architect do some type, I hate this word, application transformation, or what the hell they're called, pick up during the day because that's going to get you better off in your job, great. But by and large, people are contributing in their off time. And I'm not saying that you should just burn the midnight oil to be able to do that, but I just see that there's just a huge skills gap, and in learning these type of tools and learning the cloud native paradigms that are out there. I think there's a ton of business. There's a ton of hiring. I mean, we can't find engineers. Like our job listing at Sysdig is literally like littered with people, like globally. So, and it's not just us. I mean, you see it all the time. People ask me like, "Hey, do you know anybody who would like to go join this company?" I'm like, "No, if I did, I'd have them at Sysdig," right? So, you know what I mean? It's like there's a huge skills gap. So again, answering your question, just picking that, picking those traits up either at your job or after hours, I think will be really net benefit for you in your career.
Yes, absolutely. And the same question to the David, but I will try to ask you the benefit of doing this kind of thing. Somebody is going to the market and they find the timing of that. Let's say contribute to the awesome project like Falco, Cilium, or Knative, or Linkerd, or these kind of stuff. Let's say they manage the time to contribute to these open source projects. What are the benefits they want to get in their career?
So, I mean, I'm not going to advocate that everyone needs to start investing their spare time into learning and stuff. But what I want you to kind of take away is that we all have a different idea of what success is. For some people, that's to earn a modest wage and take care of their family and spend as much time with them as possible. For some people, it's to climb up the ladders and get as far in this industry as they can, making much more money as they can. And, there's people that, and it's not binary, right? Like I can honestly say that right now, my priorities are not to continue climbing. My priorities are my family. But it hasn't always been that way. I didn't always have a family. And in fact, in my 20s, I spent every waking second writing code and learning new technologies and going out and speaking at events. And I think that that's going to change randomly, not randomly, it's going to change cyclically over my life as well. I'm going to go through phases where I do want to then go invest in new skills. And, think of this, I don't want to draw a correlation to writing code to being a pilot, right? But pilots don't get their license until they have X number of hours under the belt because experience is king. Always going to be the case. And in technology, that can be the same as well. If you want to keep moving forward, you want to keep progressing, you have to clock in the hours, you have to build up the experience. But what comes first is your own personal definition of success, what you're looking to do, where you need to be, and apply that. So if right now you want to be getting into cloud native, you want to be learning Kubernetes, you want to be changing your job from A to B, then you have to put in the hours to do that. So understand you. Like I can't sit here and give anyone advice without knowing what definition of success they have. But I can tell you if it's to move from a classic Java environment into cloud native, then you've got to start cracking in hours, you've got to start building up experience, and you've got to start learning these skills.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for the great explanation. And now I try to ask hardest question to the Pop because I think he's trying to fight us.
What did I do to you, dude? Don't give me the hard questions, man. Give David. He's the smart one of the crew.
No, I know also. But the one question that I see from the community's part of it, that let's say I try to run the cloud native Islamabad user groups. So, and also you are the CNCF ambassador. So people try to know what are these roles are and what are you trying to do? What's your, let's say if you are the CNCF ambassadors, what are the things you are trying to do for the community? And let's say if in the future I find this, I get this title of CNCF ambassador, or somebody recognize my effort and put me some kind of a title, how this give me the opportunity to be a successful and be a wonderful guy to talk to the companies. And also the next, on top of that same question, the companies and the recruiters ask me, we want to find the passionate people about the current job that they put on the social media. How they find the passionate people on the internet related to that technology they want to hire into their company.
The first question on the whole ambassador thing, it took David and I years to get there. and there's some criteria for it. But it's also, like I said, we were also passionate about cloud native, and they saw that during the course of years and growing like this. People are like, well, I didn't get it this year, I didn't this. It's like, look, there's a lot you have to do to get there, but as long as your peers see that, and so your peers see that in a way that, you can grow and be part of it. I think it's doing what people should be doing locally, and showing why the cloud, the CNCF is such a great thing, and all of the projects that are out there, doing that locally in such a way that you get more people involved, because this doesn't start and end with one, the UK and England. I mean, I love seeing Brazil. I love seeing Islamabad. I love seeing all of these, all over the world, people seeing cloud native. I want to someday, I'm sure David would love to do this at some point, it's to be able to go to a local meetup and talk. But seeing the passion, like you said, and that's the second part of your question, seeing the passion for these things, you don't have to be an ambassador to do that. You'll get recognized if you do it, and you'll get recognized for that. But if your mission is to become an ambassador, my mission wasn't to become an ambassador. My mission was just to do right by the community, do right by the people, be able to acknowledge people that are doing amazing things. And also, like I said, I like the ideals that the Cloud Native Computing Foundation puts together. I am a fan of Priyanka. I'm a fan of Chris Anachek, right? I've talked, I know them well, right? And so, supporting them and the rest of the ambassadors is something we want to do. So just don't do it for that end goal of being an ambassador. Do it for the end goal of the community. That's what I would say. The second part, you were talking about how to show passion. Just be passionate. You don't have to show anybody shit, pardon my French. I mean, you don't have, at the end of the day, it's I don't care. If I put something on Twitter, it's because I believe it. If I'm talking to David, if I'm talking to you, it's because I genuinely like you as people, right? And so, there's situations where it's look, I'm not doing this to pad my resume. I'm doing this to be a good human being. That's why I do what I do, right? So, that end goal of I have to have X amount of followers and all this crap. Great. I'm happy that you're following me, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to give my wife a hug, and I'm going to kiss my kid. It's always going to be the same thing, right? That's it. Don't care. And don't say that I don't care about the people. It's just, you know what I mean? If those things don't drive me. The people I care about, that drives me. Being able to say, wow, you know what? He's doing some cool stuff. So yeah, don't let that be the driver for you. Just do you, and be passionate about it.
Yes,
yeah, I'm going to need a copy of this recording to soundbite all of this out of context.
Yes, absolutely. So David, can you add something to this topic that we're discussing right now?
I think everything Pop said is nail on the head. If you want to sound passionate, then talk about something you've got an interest in. Something about you're passionate. That's a key. I don't even think I can add anything. Unfortunately, I'm speechless. Pop got it.
See this?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much for a wonderful discussion for right now. So for the final tips and tricks, what are the tips you want to give to the community? Let's say somebody they are thoughts about managing the local user group, but they haven't do that before. Or the student who want to ship into these technologies. What are the tips, or what are the pro tips you want to give to these people who just wanted to switch their career, who wanted to make passion about what they are currently doing? What are the pro tips you want to give to these people?
You want me to get it first, or you got it, dude?
Anyone.
Okay, so the question is, what tips do we have for people that want to make a change in their career and be more involved in the cloud native community? Did I hear that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Get involved. It's as simple as that. If there isn't a local user group, then start one. The CNCF provides amazing support to do that. You can go and say that I want to start a group, and they will provide money to help you get it started, provide pizza, provide water, drinks, whatever you need. And when it comes to finding speakers, the CNCF website has a
Um, I would say do the things that nobody's doing, right? And so an example, like one student, I love this for Falco, did basically, her name is Anushka, and she came through with like basically a policy report for Kyverno for Falco's sidekick. I mean, but she got really involved. She asked a bunch of people how to get involved, and she took it and she did something that nobody else was doing. So she took that initiative. And so it was really cool to see that. And then we kind of retweeted it and told other people about it. And like Ian Coldwater ended up like retweeting it too. So it was really cool because again, we'd love to see that. And so again, do those things that nobody else is doing. Also, you're gonna hear a lot of no's and you're gonna want to quit. David and I, like literally the first 4 or 5 episodes of our stuff was like, nobody's watching this. Nobody. Like I remember those, like we literally DM each other and be like, what's going on here? And then you just realize you need to go the distance with this. You need to do this and be passionate about it and do those things, right? If you want to do a meetup, so being consistent from that perspective, and then, that's what I would say is do that, not only from a social perspective or like creating content. It's more of just being consistent in the workforce. So from a career perspective, doing that, and also be open to listening to the different things that are out there. Meaning like, hey, there's opportunities everywhere, right? And if it doesn't mean that like, look, if you love your job, you stay with the company. Company's treating you well, you stay with them. I have been at Cystic for 5 years because I really love the company. I mean, I'm employed 20 of it. So it's like, I help build the culture, right? And so if I look at this from the perspective of, also if I'm an external person, if I'm unhappy at my job, I want to be in a place that I'm happy. So always be on the lookout for things that are going to make you happy from a job perspective and from a career perspective. You're talented enough, especially in this space, again, with that skills gap that's out there. If Go, Kubernetes, CNI and Service Mesh and all that fun stuff, there's jobs out there. Trust me. And so being able to do that. So again, going out there, doing the things that nobody's doing, being consistent, and also keeping your eyes open to opportunities because they are out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Fucking hate you.
And absolutely. And absolutely. And
that was a great answer. Really good, strong answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I think I 100% agree to the point. You see that you do the stuff consistently. That I will try to do it. I try to do the meetup every Thursday. I try to do a podcast in 2 weeks or 1 week. Try to be engaged in these kind of stuff because at the end of the day, you will gain the audience. But if you stop it at some moment of time, you lose your own passion. And that's not going to be happen there because you build the passion in the very, very longest amount of time. When I started my career in the IT, I don't have passion for it. I want to be a footballer or a cricketer. But later on down the road, I try to find the way. How do I try to be I try to be in a position that I find to be a passionate. So I think the one wonderful suggestion from the DanPOP is that try to do these kind of stuff consistently. I see the people are starting these kind of stuff and then they switch off to these kind of things. They're thinking people are not liking about the stuff they are putting on. But I think eventually
the barrier to entry is so low, right? I mean, anybody, I can go right now. Hey, got a podcast. I'll talk to you about, like I can do that right now, right? I can put on TikTok or something, right?
Yes.
But the thing that is that consistency. It's also like saying to yourself, this is the thing I'm doing, and I can explain it very simply so people can understand it. David's show, he breaks a cluster. He has a team try to fix it. It's brilliant in its simplicity, and it's brilliant in its execution. People get it. You go on that show, and you see all these people do these things. You go, look, it looks good to me. LGTM, it's literally just him saying with a contributor, here's how you contribute to this project. I look at Kat Cosgrove's show on Cloud Native TV, please follow, is like that show, which by the way, we're also looking for other people to suggest shows. This isn't just like, we want to have a global show. We have folks that are contributing, from Japan or whomever, just go ahead. And so Kat's going, explain to me like I'm 5 this project, because everybody's had that question. Who the hell knows what, I don't know, like, I don't know, geez, who knows what, like, Istio is, even though it's not CNCF project, but you know what I mean? Like, in general, right? It's like, who has that knowledge? Who knows like what things like Spiffy and Spire are, right? Like, you having that knowledge of it, right? I mean, at the station and anyway. So like these are the things you got to figure out, right? Sig store, right? Other things that, anyway. So long story short, it's like, basically having the ability to explain what you do in simple ways. But like you said, that consistency is really important.
Yes, absolutely. That's the number one part of it. And I think it's try to be when you start doing this, it's try to be tougher for you. But in the going forward, you have a plan and you have a timetable set for it in the moving forward when you've done this kind of thing consistently there. So enough about technology, enough about open source, enough about CNCF. So some personal question for both of you. How do you how long your friendship has been? That's Javed and Dan. How long your friendship has been?
What friendship?
Yeah, exactly. I think we give up on friendship every week. We kind of renew our vows every week. We say, we look at each other like, are we going to be friends this week? I don't know. It's after this, I don't know. I'm going back to being like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wow. So also, we are wonderful friends, and I'll try to let's portray this question. I'll try to answer this. Let's say I see both of you how to be a good friend in the internet. Like, so you are living in the New York, I'm living in Islamabad, Javid is living in Scottish. How to be a wonderful friend using the social media, and I see you tweeting that. Try to respect each other. Try to appreciate the stuff that people are putting on. In that way, you find more friend, more people, and people are you find more respect in the social media. But how you explain how do you try to answer this question?
You know what? I don't think, well, in fact, I think I've posted 2 nice things about Pop on Twitter, and it's too many, to be fair. But what people don't understand is that, we have a bit of fun on Twitter, and, we do it for us. It's not for other people. We just enjoy having jabs at each other because, we do actually have a really good friendship. But what people don't see is that, Pop says, when you start this stuff, you get 0 views. Like, I'm 200 episodes in, over 400 hours, and I can easily say the first 20 episodes probably didn't have a single viewer live. And even still, I still have episodes where I struggle to get a live audience, and these are frustrating. And I can always send a message to Pop, and I do. And I'm like, look, I'm struggling. I don't know why I'm doing this. What am I getting wrong? And he's just always there through practical support and tips and how I can make changes and what I need to do, and then emotional support just when I need it. Like, he is always there for me whenever I send a message. So even though there is this competitiveness that we rival each other and we have jabs at each other on Twitter, is that he is just the best person that I have that I have there for support whenever I need it. So thanks.
Same. Yeah, thank you, dude. And again, we started this stuff together. It was us and Adrian Goings and Siam. Much love to Siam, but and others out there, But like David and I, like I said, it's you take this journey and being friends and stuff like that. Like, I genuinely if I'm pissed that I would have booked a trip to Scotland in a week if I knew I can go there or whatever. So and that's challenging. But my take on it is you need to put yourself out there, right? I went out and it was like, hey, David, what's going on? Like, I think try this. And I suggested something. He come back to me and said, try this. You got to put yourself out there and talk to people. That's even when I'm booking people for shows. Like, I'm like, hey, Kelsey, we want to be on my show and stuff like that. And we've become friends after that. And so you got to put yourself out there is what I say. But also and don't do it in such a way that's only benefit you. Do it in such a way that's going to benefit both, right? People, there's so many one-sided things in the world, and that's what I love again about this community outside of other places. I mean, paint this lovely picture about community, but it is real from that perspective. You can go to anybody, big name, small name, and you can ask those questions and all of that. So what I say is, like I said, just put yourself out there. We certainly have, and like I said, it's when David, one of the things I remember was we did the pizza fun. Anyway, and on that thing, I talked about how I would do anything in my power to help him be an ambassador, and he ended up, being an ambassador. I wasn't directly the reason for it, but I literally was like, when I got mine, I'm like, you gotta have David. And others in the team were like, he's not an ambassador already. So it was like, you know what I mean? So those are the things. Again, it's like, you gotta. There's too many people like gunning for people in this world, and people piss with one another. You need to show that level of support. I'm happy for anybody in this community, for them to get ahead. Everybody. That's what we need. That's what we need to have, not only in the community but in the world today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for being on the podcast, and I really appreciate it, because every time I try to talk to you, you always helping me out. David, every time I talk to Twitter, some kind of thing, some kind of issue, I seen when a few episodes of Cloud Native FM podcast to give me some suggestions about how to do it in a productive way. So I really appreciated your effort. I really fan of both of you, literally. And I'm the only reason why I've been on the Twitter and talking to these kind of stuff, because I'm really motivated for both of you guys, what your stuff you are doing on, and hopefully meet you in some time when the Corona or COVID ends, and we'll meet you on the KubeCon, the Cloud Native Con. And before I let you go, what's your party for the Cloud Native Con, KubeCon this year? I think it's just a month away from us.
So what's the question? I'm sorry.
Are you going to KubeCon? I think it's going to be happening live this year, hybrid. You can join on the online and also the live event. So both of you are going to KubeCon, or what's your plan for joining the KubeCon?
David, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm not going, unfortunately. I would love to be going to LA and catching up with everyone in the community and saying hello and seeing some talks live again. But unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, there is no travel between most of Europe and the US at the moment. So I will be attending virtually and enjoying many of the sessions, but I'm hoping, and fingers are crossed, that for KubeCon EU at the start of next year, we can all get together.
So I will be there. I will be there basically, again, supporting. I'm co-chair of two events over there. One, the eBPF Day, and the second, the Tag Security Day as well. emceeing those as well. One, the eBPF Day will be with Duffy, and then Duffy Cooley, if you all know that name, and then the Cloud Native Security Days with Andres Vega and Emily Fox, two wonderful people. And I love these events. The co-located events are awesome. There's PromCon. You all please make sure, even you register for the virtual, go ahead and do that. It's really fun. There's Hallway Track, which David and I love. It's always good to interact, folks. That's how, again, you go in those channels, you ask those questions. That's why you've seen so many people get involved with the communities. Hallway, just people talking to folks. Live, we'll be there. What I love about it is we're taking sure that folks are vaccinated and in all of that. So just make sure that we're supporting, make sure that each other are taken care of. And I think the CNCF is the events people are absolutely fantastic. They're taking care of the people that need, that their concerns very quickly and all of that. Plug for Cloud Native TV every single day. We're going to have a wrap-up show. Follow. You'll be able to ask questions live. We're going to have a co-located day event where people will be able to talk about that. We'll have day one follow-ups and wrap-ups. So anybody who did a keynote, we're trying to get on stage to talk about it as a wrap-up show. And it's really fun. And you all, just one of the things too is leading up to KubeCon, Cloud Native TV is going to have some really special stuff coming up. So make sure you check it out. Shameless plug for the POPCAST as well. I'm basically doing a week before KubeCon a bunch of shows. I can't tell you the number just yet, but it might be literally 10 shows in a week. We'll see how that works out. But it's going to be pretty amazing. Really excited about the guest list. I can't reveal the guest list as yet. You'll see pretty soon, but it's some really amazing names. So really excited about all of it. And I suggest you all just register and check out KubeCon. Even if again, love to see you in person. I'll Purell and give you a hug if possible if you do come. But even virtually, we want to make sure that there's a presence there. I'll be, looking at Slack and all of the, the tools that are there. So I really would love you all to get in, check it out.
Yes, absolutely. And hey, these, I encourage you to, all these links available for use for the YouTube. You grab the PromCon or SecurityCon and these kind. I think these give you the option what's going to be happen for the next few years about these kind of technologies. So I think I encourage you to join virtually or going to live if you have opportunities to go there. But I hope in the future I see both of you guys talking to a larger audience, because I'm also arranging the KCD Pakistan, Kubernetes Community Days Pakistan. Hopefully in December, both of you, again, I see you talking to people, question live there. Hopefully I try to see you again. But it's really honor for me talking to you in 1 hour, and I'm really learning from you a lot in this community side, I think. Thanks for all the support you do for me and other part of the community members, appreciating your stuff, you're trying to do it. And I'm really I'm thanks for all the open source work that you are currently put on and helping people to know who are the people who are behind these technologies. And the live stream, they're awesome from the Rawkode, because it's helped me prepare for the CK or CKAD and these kind of exams. I highly encourage you to watch these shows on the live stream with the Rawkode, LGTM, Cloud Native TV. Go to the POPCAST Pop. You know who are the people who behind these technologies, building these awesome tools that we love about it, talk about to the larger audience. And thank you very much. I really, this is the best time for me in the year, best time for me in the Cloud Native Computing Foundation for talking to you, these kind of people. And I hope to see you on the KCD Pakistan as well. So wrap up the discussion, final thoughts, or say bye to our audience. Rawkode and
It was
Pop.
a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Rawkode and Pop.
Thanks for having us.